Well, hello everyone, Philosopher Stoner, making another video. Yeah. So, I guess I'll start off. This is probably yet again another junk video. But yeah, you don't have to watch it. You can disregard it. I'll do a bit of a personal update, and then we'll see what else comes out of my mouth. I haven't scripted this or planned this. Well, I never do with any of my videos. I just sort of always go off the cuff, but I always think about, okay, well, I'm going to talk about a topic, right? So but I don't prepare anything. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to talk about Pizzagate, or I'm going to talk about making wine, or do whatever, but I go off the cuff. Like, I don't follow a script. But not that I'm so super talented or something, because I'm not, but anyway, yeah, so personal update. I've been going ahead with the e-commerce stuff. I have a website almost set up with Shopify, and I've gone over from a thing called Samcart to a thing with a guy called Ty Lopez, and they have relationships with Shopify, which Shopify is pretty easy to use. I've already read guides and instructions about how to do it. It's not that complicated, but he has the relationships already with the actual drop shippers of the product. So I'm going to try and do that drop shipping stuff, the whole digital nomad thing, and try to build up at least a side business that's a location independent income, which I think is interesting. And my niche is home and gardening. I know how to make wine, and I have pictures of a vine. Well, it's actually the previous owners of this house built it. It was an old Portuguese or Italian guy or something, and he, put in a grapevine. But anyways, I do grow tomatoes. I know how to make my own tomato sauce, stuff like that. My dad and a few other people have said I do have a green thumb. That one of my projects actually is I have 5 hectares worth of survival seeds. So it's all heirloom seeds that you can plant again if you get the seeds, and keep planting as long as you have good harvests, right? Yeah, so if I could, like, I tried to do it this year, but I couldn't find land or any people to help me. So one of my projects for the late winter, spring, is to get some people involved and do like a 5-hectare garden and grow food. Maybe I can get land with the city or something. But anyway, so yeah, I'm interested in home and gardening, and I can pass myself off as being somewhat of an expert about that. So I'm going to sell like home and garden products online. So I think it's pretty interesting. I should make some money, and I have set goals, more clarified goals, related to a mission and a vision. So my mission is to be passionate about solving problems. My vision is to increase my monthly net cash flow, $4,000, not gross, but net. 3,000, but yeah, 4,000 is, I've raised the bar a little bit higher. But if I made $4,000 a month, I wouldn't worry about money anymore. I would feel perfectly content. I have most of my money invested, so in a smart way, I think. So I should be okay. And yeah, like, I'll make money from it, but then hopefully it gives me enough of a semi-passive income where, like, I only have to do it 20 hours a week or so to maintain the business, grow the business, that it frees up my time to do a lot of other stuff that I would rather be doing than this whole rat race, working for a job, being an independent contractor, and working for all these companies, helping to make some other asshole, really rich. And, well, why the fuck should I do that? I'm not getting, any medical benefits. I'm not getting, any dental benefits. I'm not getting any health insurance at all. I'm getting paid minimum wage, even though I have a college degree and a master's degree and all this stuff, and I'm getting paid minimum wage, right? No benefits, no pension, no nothing. No, like, I am very easy to hire and I'm very easy to fire. It's not a hard job. Like, maybe my hourly wage shouldn't be much higher than what it is, maybe $20 an hour. instead of 15. But still, you get all this education and they brainwash you. And we were all promised us, a slot in the hierarchy. And there's no fucking slot in the hierarchy. It really is, yes, you're on your own. A lot of these institutions we had, like unions and pensions and all that stuff, it's all been looted. It's all been, highly compromised. So, yeah, it's lamentable. It's unfortunate, but really, yeah, you got to be self-reliant. You got to, take care of yourself and do stuff. And, it motivates me to get out of bed in the morning. I've had, depression, suicidal thoughts, stuff like that. So, what's what I can get excited. And then, yes, hopefully if I make enough money, I can, there's a charity I like, what's it called? They pay, not Planned Parenthood. What the fuck is it called? Well, anyway, it's with, they pay, Project Prevention. They pay mothers to not have children, like women that are drug addicts, stuff like that. They find incentives and they convince people, they pay them money and say, okay, you've had these kids, you can't pay for them, you're reckless and irresponsible. Here, we'll give you some money, but you got to get sterilized. You got to get, your tubes tied or whatever. And these are people that, yes, shouldn't be having kids, like drug addict prostitutes and all this, like these poor people that are really poor, but also really stupid and inbred and, retards and stuff like that. And, it's kind of creepy and eugenicist because it's saying, well, only certain people shouldn't breed. But yeah, I don't know, maybe like, does an autism person like me need to breed, but spread my autism, impose autism on other people? No, it doesn't. But definitely, like, it's strange, like my type of personality, autism, historically it wouldn't have survived. And it's interesting that I get to exist in this world, right? Despite being in this sort of disabled state, semi-disabled, like it's a cognitive thing, this autism, high-functioning autism, but still I'm able to participate and be in the world and still survive somehow, even though it was just historically a guy like me would have been dead. All the illnesses I had in childhood and stuff, yes, if it hadn't been for modern medical science and a lot of things, I'd be dead. And it puts it all into perspective. Yeah, it's all highly lamentable. It's not, I don't think anybody wants to die, right? I think it's that the problem is we have to die. So that's what makes it difficult is, yeah, letting go is hard. And life seems to be this process of letting go. And that's hard, Yeah, it's tough. And it feels like in the end, nothing really mattered, but no, it was meaningful. It was important. It's something that, yeah, like based on my life experience, I wouldn't want to have anybody go through it, like I wouldn't want to do it over again. And what I'm afraid of is, yes, being reborn in a sense, but the Buddhists talk about reincarnation. What they don't tell you about is that really they consider to be reborn. Rebirth happens before you die. So Emendum doesn't support reincarnation, right? But he's in a metaphorical ways, like, yes, it's like, it won't be Emendum, it won't be Gary, it won't be William, it won't be Carol, it won't be Bill, Susie, whoever. It won't be the same person doing it over again. It'll be a different person, but they'll be basically the same as you. They'll be like 95% like you. They'll like they'll have their particularities, their little hobbies, interests, same, similar, skin color, eye color. Well, maybe those will be different, but they'll be basically like you, 99% like you, 95% like you. A few things different, but you'll be basically doing it over again. And I'm afraid of being reborn here and not having so much of a free ride. Like, I look back at my life and realize, oh yeah, man, shit, I had quite the free ride. Like, my mother did all this shit for me, and I'm practically wiped my ass and stuff. And next time, will I be so lucky? Like, will I get those advantages? will, like, when my parents die, will I still get like at least $100,000 of insurance money to buy me some time to figure things out? Like, most people in our world don't get that, right? They don't get an inheritance, or they don't get, certain things. And yeah, it's not fair, so it's not fair. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I've gone on a little bit of a rant. I am excited about the e-commerce stuff, and a mission and a vision, and my ultimate, like, part of my vision is to increase my working capital, and that's money that's invested in real estate or other things to give me a sort of semi-passive income. And the tax laws in Canada are that close to $40,000 can be paid to you as a dividend, and that avoids a lot of taxes. And so really, it's like, I used to think, oh, I need to make six figures a year, or $75,000 a year, USD net. And really, you don't. Really, you can have your money paid to you as preferred shares, and you get paid close to $40,000 tax free. That really, it's like, say you want $100,000 a year, really getting $50,000 a year in a tax efficient manner is almost the same as, yes, making $100,000 a year, in terms of the time value of money, in terms of the time that you don't have to work. And then it frees up your time to actually pursue stuff that you're actually interested in and want to do. And so it's like, well, I'm lucky I get to do that. I'm sort of already basically 2/3 of the way there in terms of the amount of money that I have. So it's like, well, if I can set that up for myself, get paid close to, almost 40,000 a year, basically tax free and everything, well, then, like, I can do stuff that I'm actually interested in and try to solve some problems in the world. And, that can get me excited and get me out of bed and interested. And as long as it's, like, as long as I have my exit, as long as I have my way out, if I can leave, like, whenever I want, whenever, say, it does become the Mad Max world, like all the headlines make it seem, I can always leave, I can do that anytime I want, you know. So it's truly, yes, it's about feeling free in the end, a feeling of freedom, a feeling like, well, I'm ready to go, but I don't necessarily want to leave yet. But it's like, yes, if I were to die tomorrow, I would almost be like, yeah, thank God. But, it's like, I don't have the balls to do it myself. So I've realized that. So then that's a revelation, and that, well, then once you reject suicide, or reject that, well, then now what? What do you do now? It's this Hamlet, to be or not to be, and we decide we don't want to live anymore. Right? We say to not be, then we do it, and then if we don't do it, well, then now what? Right? And it's about solving the problems in the world and finding solutions. And yes, I do advocate the antinatalism as a kind of, yes, solution, as just simply just don't make more of the problem, right? So I do agree with it, but still, like, there's a not a resistance, but I don't know how to articulate it, but it's like not a rejection, like I'm still an antinatalist, but it's like, well, like I said, it's the problem is, it's not that we want to die, it's that we have to die. Like, we have no choice. Like, in the end, yeah, it's going to come and get us, right? And then that's the ultimate existential religious problem, and then why all of these religions exist, because we just can't handle it cognitively. We know, like, yes, it's going to be over someday, and, yeah, it's a problem that we just can't solve. Like, we don't have the answer for that. Philosophers have been debating it for thousands of years, and yet we just don't have the fucking answer. It's not, like I said, it's not that we want to die. It's this unfortunate, yes, very unfortunate, lamentable thing that, yes, we have to die. There's no choice, So that's, yeah, that's not very good. And then we're making more of this problem that it's, well, I didn't make the world this way. I don't want the world to be this way. I don't want, all these Satanists and pedophiles and, wars and, the parasitical elite, at the top of the pyramid and all this fucking stuff that where, yeah, you people just don't have high enough standards. It's like, yeah, my standards are too high. I will not accept mediocrity. I will not accept, living in a mud hut, we're too high maintenance. And then there's that problem of unsatisfiable desire where it's just like, yeah, we always want something else. Like there's millionaires and billionaires that lament that their private jet is too small. They'd like a bigger private jet. Like when is it ever enough, right? And in the end, yes, it's about we torture ourselves. We make this world a fucking hellhole, and it could be so much better. It could just be so much. There could just be so much beauty and art and music and good stuff. But yeah, it's these, I don't know. There is more of that in the world now, but then, yeah, does it make up for it? Does it wipe away oh yeah, there's a kid with cancer. Oh yeah, there's like 8 million people that are going to starve to death in Yemen. Oh yeah, there's 100 million people that are going to starve to death that the UN is calling it a biblical famine that's going to happen. All these fucking people don't die of starvation, they die of malnutrition. And also, yeah, like in America, we got all, like in North America, Canada, US, we got all this fast food and there's no fucking nutrients in any of it. And, we rely on oil to grow all of our crops that we're basically eating fossil fuels at this point. And the fossil fuels, there's a limited supply of that. And we just don't have all the answers to all of these problems. 8 billion people, and growing, you know and it's this failure as well to people don't have any discipline and don't save, but then people don't understand the exponential function. I was doing a course today called the Crash Course by this YouTube channel Peak Prosperity, and he's like, he talks about the exponential function is that we just don't understand the power of the exponential function like in math. So it's like, say you start off with a drop of water, and think of it as like rain, where basically the drop of water grows exponentially over the course of time. So it starts at 12 noon. If it grows exponentially, guess when it fills up basically to the top, to the nosebleed section of Yankee Stadium, let's say. It starts off at 12, a single drop of water, and grows exponentially. By 12:50, the entire stadium is full of water. So you only have until 12:45 to realize, oh, this is a problem. But then by the time you do realize, then it's almost too late. And that's sort of where the world is, with all these problems, right? With the central banking, fiat currency, fractional reserve banking system, and then the economic problems that we're having. And like I said, this peak oil problem, the failure of people to save, the fact that we're not in capitalism or socialism or communism. We're living in a kind of creditism where we're addicted to debt and credit. And just, yeah, all these, and then, they say, okay, buy gold or buy Bitcoin, but it's like, well, how does that solve famine? And how does, that fix problems in the world and all this stuff? Like, just, people just don't want to think about any of this stuff, and no one wants to have a conversation. And politics is so, can't have a decent conversation, and it's all these power players and these puppet masters and backstabbers and triple backstabbers, and it's like, I don't know, man, like But then I suppose there is a reason why there are so many death cults in the world. It's almost like, it's like, yes, even though we don't want to die, we have to die. But the fact that we have to die drives us nuts, and then we want to, and then it's like, yes, we want to die. And Sigmund Freud, well, I call him Sigmund Freud. But yeah, he was all about, okay, yeah, sex and death are the two preoccupations of the human psyche. And okay, he was a Jew pervert. I'm being very anti-Semitic there, but I'm just saying that to be politically incorrect. But I got, like, for the real estate courses I've done, I have friends that are Jews and stuff. Like, I'm not saying, okay, yeah, throw them in a concentration camp or anything, but yeah, I don't know. I just like to be politically incorrect. But yeah, he's a Jew pervert. Who the fuck was I talking about? Because shit, I'm high. Now I'm not even making any sense, but yeah. Yeah, fucking Jew pervert. But, fuck, man, I don't even remember what I was gonna say. But yeah, it was just life's complicated and all these fucking issues and all this stuff, all these unsolved problems that it's like, well, do you really want to fucking, do I really need a kid? Do I really need to pay for some kid, a baby that's gonna fucking cry and I gotta change its diapers and I gotta do all this fucking stuff and for what? To invite them to my funeral? Like, I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I'm afraid of doing it over again. I'm afraid of coming here and not having such a free ride, such a free lunch. Like, I really was given quite an opportunity and a gift, and I've made a lot of fuck ups in my life. I fucked up with people and stuff, but then you realize that really, in the end, a lot of that, all that ego stuff, your ego didn't really matter. In a lot of ways, yeah, there's a sense I feel like I don't know. I was thinking about this once again, like I already mentioned the reincarnation thing, and the Buddhists talk about how you're reborn before you die, and it's true. A lot of times through your life, you go through these experiences where it's like a little mini ego death, and the French refer to the orgasm as le petit mort, mort. My pronunciation, I sound very Acadian, how I sound, but because I don't have the nasal le petit mort. It's like you gotta roll the R's, but I don't know how to fucking do it. But anyways, yeah, that's the little death, the orgasm, right? And so you go for all these little deaths in your life, right? Like the first time you get dumped by your boyfriend, girlfriend, the first time you fail a class, the first time you get fired, the first time somebody dies in your family, or the first time a friend leaves, or the first time a friend dies, or all these little deaths in your life, and you become this. Yeah, I guess like what Nietzsche said, right? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But then that's not entirely true, because like people are broken. Like people do become broken human beings. They're not necessarily tougher, but like the junkie winos that I see out on the street, like you can tell they've had a rough life, but they've sort of given up, right? So they had all sorts of maybe perhaps traumatic stuff or bad stuff happen to them. Didn't make them necessarily stronger, but some of us, yes, there's like this progression. You can see it in the sense of almost like leveling up a character in a video game. So it's like I used to be a level 5 paladin, but okay, now I'm 30 and all this stuff's happened to me and stuff that's toughened me up in a sense. It's now like I'm like a level 25 paladin or something. But like, does that really mean anything? Like, isn't it all kind of silly? You know, in the end, like I said, it's about being happy. It's about, finding like a purpose in your life. Like they always talk about that goal setting and this, mission and a vision, because it's about motivating yourself to get up in the morning and having something to do. But not everybody has the privilege of being able to do that. People are so caught up in the being victims of circumstance, and uh, like I got a free ride, right? Like I can't say to people pull up your bootstraps or some bullshit like that, but I got provided for. But yeah, it's true. Like once you have the opportunity, say you can travel and do interesting things, there's something too interesting going on here. But then it's like it's too expensive. That's the thing. It's like, like, yeah, I just wish all this interesting stuff didn't come at such a horrendous price, and then I would actually be okay with it. We could play or do our stupid little games and, sing our songs and write our books and, listen to our music and do all of our stuff. I just wish, yeah, there wasn't a kid dying of cancer, or I didn't see winos on the street, or, I didn't realize, oh yeah, there's this evil banking cartel running the world, and all these fucking problems. And yeah, Trump's the president, and the whole thing is just, this virus and all this unemployment and all these fucking problems. Like, it's like, in the end, yes, it's about solving problems. It's about finding solutions. But then, can we solve all the problems, though? That's the thing. It's like, I don't think we can. But I don't know. Like, I just don't know anymore. It's all too complicated. It's like, oh, fuck. I didn't ask to do any of this. I don't want to fucking do any of this shit. Like, yeah, that's sort of where that's my thought process. But it's I guess I suppose having a healthy skepticism and a healthy doubt. But it's about keeping it healthy, though. It's like, yeah, don't let antinatalism so depress you. It's like, yes, it's like the whole label of being an atheist or an agnostic or a materialist. It's like, yeah, I don't feel the need to convince other people that God doesn't exist anymore, because I can kind of understand why they want to believe in God and why they want there to be Jesus. And like, I sympathize with people wanting to believe in something good and pure and innocent. And the world just so fucking brutalizes all of that. It's, you know, like if say Jesus were to come down and shake my hand, then yeah, I'd believe. It's like how I sort of sympathize with Christianity because of I've talked about it many, 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 many times, the astrotheology. But it's like, yes, I wish I could buy into something like 100% and be like, yes, this is the absolute way and the truth. But it's just, it's like how I'm a fan of it's conspiracy theorists, but it's not even conspiracies. It's just unanswered questions. It's like, yeah, really, how much do we know here? Like there's maps of California that show it being an island, and there's maps that show a lake in the center of the United States, and there's maps that don't show the Great Lakes in North America. And, like, really, okay, they were less advanced back then, but were they really that stupid? Like, no, probably not. So it's, yeah, what do we know here? Like, it's like, yes, I guess I'm sort of settling for like a kind of superstition. Like, yeah, when I stumbled on the Pizzagate stuff, that's when I sort of had like a philosophical shift, because it's like, yes, I really now truly believe in evil, and there's almost an element to all of that with the Pedogate, Pizzagate stuff, like of a, yeah, supernatural. Like, it's like, yeah, the conspiracy theorists like Jordan Maxwell and David Icke and those people, it's like, yeah, they talk about shape-shifting reptilians. Like, one really wonders. Like, I'm not buying into it hook, line, and sinker. I don't like. I'm just, yeah. I watched one of his lectures and he talks about it so much enough. Like, that's like, well, he's not. It's not complete garbage. Like, he shows all of these ancient religions that show that they worship reptiles, and we have a reptilian brain and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, one really does wonder. Demons, aliens. Like, it seems that there's something, yeah, supernatural going on here at some level. Like, it's just this malignant evil where it's like, yeah, you really wonder all of the religious stories, the dark versus light, and it always comes up, and it's unavoidable. There's nothing, yeah, there's no other story, right? The light versus dark. That's really, yes, what it's about. And yeah, it's an unfortunate story, because it's like, do we really need the dark? Can't we just have the light? And then it's like, yeah, do we really need these opposites and stuff? And dualism, like the Taoist symbol, the yin and the yang. I read this thing. It's the Department of Justice Guide to Satanic Cults, and it talks about dualism and this belief in duality, that we need the evil to have the good. And do we really? No, you don't need the dark to have the light. Darkness is just the absence of light. And it's like, yes, can't we, like, and then that was a Christian guy said that, and then that resonated with me. And even though, like, I'm still an antinatalist, I can reconcile it with this thread in most religions where certain people go celibate, but they have like a niche value. They're like an intellectual or a scholar, and they're not very attractive. They have a low survival value, but they can survive being like a kind of priest. But then, yes, they go celibate. Like in religion and also in philosophy, you notice a lot of philosophers don't have children. Ayn Rand, Nietzsche, even though they weren't anti-natalist, like they didn't have kids. It's interesting, right? And the religious monks and these orders, yes, they never had children. Part of this faith, but it was a moral enlightenment, realizing, yeah, you don't need the dark. Darkness is just the absence of light, and then that's a thread in religions. And yeah, the religious caste goes celibate, which is interesting. This evolution, right? But then, say everyone were to achieve this sort of semi-enlightenment, right? Realizing, that they go celibate and all that, and that the world's a mess and all of that. Wouldn't that redeem the human race if we could all grow up a little bit? But then, would it be actually turn into a world worth saving at that point? Say we all did come together and said, yes, we need to end this because this is just unacceptable. This is just too horrible. There's too much evil in the world. But then say, yeah, we all did come together and try to do something about it. Wouldn't it make it worth saving at that point? But then I don't know. Like, I don't know, but it's like, I don't really think if we were all going to come together and achieve the objectives of antinatalism, though, as a group. But like, as I've mentioned before, we all have cognitive problems. I have like high functioning autism. Like, we're just not, we're not influencers, and I don't think it'll ever really happen. But I'm just a naysayer on the sidelines, though. Like, I'm not going to get in anybody's way, but then I'm going to, try my best to do stuff that I feel will be at least productive and try to solve some of the problems. And I think that's a good attitude shift for me and for stuff. And yeah, like, I don't claim to have all the answers, and it's just that's the problem, is a lack of answers, and I wish we had the answers. I don't like it to be this way. I'm sort of, it's I'm doing it and I agree with it, but then it also repulses me at the same time. It's like, yes, what have we become? This is what we're becoming. Like, yeah, there's some sort of a spiritual disease here with humanity, and stuff can in the end liberate us or enslave us. And I don't know, like the technology stuff I've talked about, the singularity, right? Yeah, we got to make that choice. Do we want to liberate ourselves or enslave ourselves? And if we're just going to keep enslaving ourselves, then yes, maybe just end it. But then maybe we can do better. I don't know. I want to believe we can do better, but it's tough. It's hard. But anyway, yeah, this is enough of a video. It's going to end soon. My recording time, the file size limit. So anyways, Philosopher Stoner out.